Let's go, baby. Welcome to the Athletes and Assets podcast. I'm your host, Noah Lack, and I bring on elite athletes to chat about a business topic. Whether it's venture capital, retail, sales, crypto, your favorite athletes know a lot more about business than you think, but how would you know that from just watching mainstream media? You're going to learn a topic of business here, but you're also going to learn a lot about the athletes themselves. Tune in. Please like, subscribe, give us a follow, because we're bringing the heat. Let's get it.
1, 2, 3, 4.
There's probably 10 guys in the world that make $1 million. I guarantee if you took that money away, they'd still be doing it. I'm lucky to have put myself in a position to where I don't have to stress financially about what's next, or I can still kind of enjoy surfing while I'm still in the prime of my age.
Let's go, baby. It's another episode of the Athletes and Assets podcast. Oh my goodness. We are in Santa Cruz right now in some sleepy garage, but we are absolutely dialed and psyched, as the surfers say, because I'm joined by one of the best surfers in California, one of the best surfers in Santa Cruz all time. WSL legend, has been on the tour for many years, has absolutely carved out an amazing path and career in surfing. I'm joined by the guy, Nat Young. Nat, how we doing, man?
I'm good. Thanks for having me on. Nice to meet you as well.
Yeah, it's great to be here in your backyard. Man, let's skip the small talk. A lot of my audience, Nat, is Bay Area focused, and we got to know from the horse's mouth, top sleeper surf spots in the Bay Area. Can you share the secret spots?
I can't share the secret spots, but no, I don't know. I just, over this weekend, I went up to San Fran and surfed Ocean Beach, and that's a sleeper spot for sure. And I mean, not everyone knows that the waves are good in San Francisco, but it gets pretty fun. Okay. Some of the better waves in California, I know that.
So there's Ocean Beach, and then there's the Fort Point under the bridge. Which one you going with? You going with Ocean Beach, or?
Yeah, I don't think Fort Point's very good wave. It's got the Golden Gate, so it's kind of cool looking, but yeah. Ocean Beach is like world class. Like, you travel around the world to find waves like that.
The Ocean Beach is no joke, though. I heard a lot of people have drowned there before.
Yeah, no, it's no joke. I mean, it was probably 20 foot this weekend, so.
20 feet?
Yeah, I mean, the faces of the waves were probably, it was pretty big. I mean, Mavericks was breaking, so it's not too far away from Mavericks, so it's, similar wave height.
Have you surfed Mavericks?
I have surfed Mavericks just once, but I did it just to be able to say I did it, kind of.
Wow. How big was it that day?
It was a smaller day out there. The face of the wave, 20 feet. People call it 10-foot Hawaiian, so yeah.
Yeah, dude, people who don't know, Mavericks is no joke. My goodness, this is one of the scariest waves and gnarliest waves.
Yeah, that's one of the biggest waves in the world. I kind of just did it because I was telling someone this the other day. People ask you that, or I've been asked that question so many times, and I'd never surfed it, so I'd say no, I haven't surfed it. And I feel like here in Northern California, people like judge your surfing skill based off if you surf Mavericks or not. So I kind of just did it so that I could just say, yeah, I surfed it.
It's just the stamp of Northern California surfing approval.
Full on stamp, yeah.
I understand. What about, aside from Ocean Beach, anything in south of San Francisco, any surf spots that you can shout out?
Nah, I can't.
Oh my God, are you serious?
I got to keep my spots to myself, but no, I mean, we got a lot of good waves around here.
Yeah. Wow.
You just got to know when to go. But yeah, there's a lot of good waves.
Oh, you're a real local, man. You're a real local. No kooks allowed. No messing up the lineup.
No, I mean, there's a lot of good waves. I mean, they're all good on different days and different swells and different winds and tides and whatnot. So it's hard to find the right spots to go on those days. But yeah, I want to surf with less people.
Yeah, no, for sure, no doubt. Well, Nat, this is fascinating because I have a lot of like basketball, football, baseball guys on. I've had people in soccer, and the team sports. There is this whole economy based around basketball, football. Not only within the sport itself, but now we see like guys like myself talking about the business beyond the field, the court, and golf as well. Technology is disrupting these sports in many different ways. A lot of the athletes, when they're done with the sport or currently in the sport, whenever they invest in something, it's becoming more and more high profile because the stamp of approval from an athlete to an entrepreneur is becoming a bigger deal. and the media around that ecosystem. And then they're surfing off. Feels like it's just a ways away in a bit from these different sports. And I think a big reason is because we were talking earlier about it being a lifestyle. But guys are content with just being out in the water all day.
Yeah. I mean, there's probably 10 guys in the world that make, a lot of money. Nowhere near baseball or basketball money or football money, but probably upwards of $1 million. So like 10 surfers in the whole world that make that type of money. But I mean, I guarantee if you took that money away, they'd still be doing it. So
Yeah.
I feel like anyone that surfs, they are constantly chasing that feeling of getting perfect waves. It's just like it's a once in a, it happens a couple times a year. So it's like, you're always just like searching for that feeling.
Yeah.
And some people are, lucky enough to make a living doing that. But like I said, I guarantee they'd still be doing it if they weren't making money doing it.
100%. It's like you have to, when you that feeling, because I've felt it on a very smaller scale. It's indescribable. It's unbelievable being on a wave that just takes you where you want to go, and you've worked so hard to sort of chase it. How long do you spend on a surf sesh in the water? How many hours would you say?
I mean, I used to, when I was younger, spend 6 to 8 hours a day, like
In the
literally
water?
all day long. As long as once I got out of school, it was in the water till it was dark. These days, when the waves are good, like I surfed last weekend, I was probably out there for 6 hours.
Yeah.
When the waves are average, it's probably 2 to 4 hours could range. Like one surf, maybe 2 hours, or two surfs, maybe 2 hours each. So when I was younger, I definitely spent a lot more time out there, but I'm still out there every day.
That's 6 hours that you're in the water. How many waves do you catch?
Yeah, I don't know. I probably spend like 5 minutes of that standing on my board, maybe less.
Okay.
So it's
just a lot.
Yeah.
A lot. Okay. I wasn't sure if I was going to get that answer, or the one where it's like, I'm out there 6 hours waiting for like 3 beauties.
Yeah, there's sessions like that. I mean, yeah, other times, you're catching a bunch of waves that can be like 5 to 10 seconds long. So however many of those add up in 6 hours. But yeah, it's unlike any other sport. I mean, it's like you're not sitting on a basketball court for 6 hours.
No.
Only taking 3 shots.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's different.
And that's why I ask, because even in basketball, no one is, I mean, there's guys that work out 3 times a day, but they'll space it and they'll go like 1.5 to 1.5 hour session, then like rest, 2 hour session later, and 2 hour session later. That's like the most guys will work out. And I'm curious, I asked that because like surfing is so you're out in the water and it's very time consuming. You don't have your electronics, you're not meeting other people, you're not doing other stuff. Like it is the most like I need to be present sport. It feels like there is.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's in a way, it's almost like a form of like meditation. You're just like out there in nature, no electronics. You're like sometimes by yourself. I think that's what draws people to it. You're just like very present, like you said, in the moment, kind of like thinking about that next wave that's coming.
Yeah.
Which I think a lot of people search for like throughout their whole life, that type of like being present, not worrying about everything. And that's like surfing is like that. Just every second of surfing is kind of like that.
Yeah. And so it's an amazing sport. The content that's being made, which I want to touch on in a little bit, it becomes better and better and more exciting, more inviting to be drawn into the sport. So why do you think over the years the prize money in the surfing tournaments has gone down and guys are making less than they did before?
I mean, I don't know the answer to that question.
Yeah.
It feels like surfing is more popular than it's ever been. Like there's more eyes on surfing than ever. I see it like all over commercials. It's in the Olympics now. The YouTube stuff, people are watching that all the time. So I don't know. I couldn't tell you, but yeah, like I said, it just seemed like the surf industry hit like a reset maybe 5 to 10 years ago. And it's like a rebalancing. I don't know. I wish I knew, but yeah.
Can you tell me? Can you say what you said about the cold water challenge in Santa Cruz? The prize money originally was 17
Oh,
grand.
I won the cold water when I was 17,
Yeah.
so that was 15 years ago. I think I won 15,000,
Yeah, $15,000.
and then this year the winner got $2,500. So 15 years later, the prize money's gone down, quite drastically.
If you're listening, please put in the comments why do we think that the something that's getting more popular, more demand is not the prize money is not matching up. It just we need to reward our surfers more, man. I'm all about it. But you've put food on the table, just to be clear, from sponsorships and then obviously winning tournaments.
Yeah, I've been blessed and lucky to make some decent money surfing through sponsorships, and through contest earnings. And, at this day and age, I don't have the money or make the money that I used to doing it. But like I said, it's part of my everyday life. And I'm lucky to have put myself in a position to where I don't have to stress financially about, what's next, or I can still kind of enjoy surfing while I'm still in the prime of my, age.
Yeah. Are there other surfers that, in your circle or from your side of the table, any surfers that you admire for what they've done sort of outside, out of the water, that they're making moves, investing, or maybe they have their own company, like, any entrepreneurial surfers out there?
Totally. There's definitely seems more and more now that surfers are starting their own companies, especially like board brands.
Okay.
There's also a lot of surfers that I just, have seen them do different or have different types of investments. And it just seems like there's certain guys that have the golden touch. They're just everything that they invest their money in blows up or does really well.
Because of their brand name, or they have an ability to analyze the opportunity?
Yeah, not necessarily because of their brand name. They just seem like they're smart and they make have good decision making when it comes to those investments and whatnot.
Any guys in particular you can shout out?
I feel like I see Josh Kerr. I'm not sure if you know who Josh Kerr is, but he seems like everything he touches turns to gold. There's a few others for sure. I mean, Kelly's probably the top dog when it comes to that.
Slater.
But he's also on a different. I mean, he's in a league of his own in terms of his just his name.
Yeah, absolutely. There seems like there's two routes, and not to put them on polar ends, but like I was saying, surfing is such a content sport. I think there's a lot of surfers out there that are content with working at a bar or a coffee shop by the beach to support their surfing lifestyle. And then maybe like you said, there's these other group of guys, whether mainstream or not, that have sussed out the ability to make the right investment, outside the water. Do you see these? Are these two type of groups fair? Or is there more I should be adding here?
Well, I mean, a lot of the guys that have done, have succeeded outside of surfing financially, made decent money as surfers. You know what I mean? I feel like when you,
sure,
make good money, you're able to kind of invest that and be willing to take a loss in different areas. And so they've kind of succeeded more so than others. But yeah, I mean, I feel like there's a lot of them, like you said, are just content, kind of whatever, getting by, and then their main day-to-day focus is finding waves. And I have a lot of friends like that are just, they work jobs, but any day they can get off, it's just centered around finding the best waves they can.
Yeah, I was kind of joking. I was kind of thinking to myself, this podcast actually may be really short, because the answer to all this may be just, well, we're content with just surfing, man. So we're good.
I mean, yeah, there's definitely a good group of surfers that have, some really cool businesses that they've started or businesses that they're a part of.
Yeah.
I think that's a small group because, like I said, it's a small group of surfers that make a decent living by doing this professionally. And then, the rest kind of have to pivot and figure out what's next and how they're going to put food on the table for their family. Yeah, it's we're not making tens of millions a year. I doubt anyone that's ever surfed has made $10 million in a year. And I think or in terms of like
For purely surfing merit prize money.
yeah, it'd be hard to imagine that a surfer has ever made over 10 million a year. But in other sports, like that's like, you know, a very
Normal.
average
Yeah.
number.
Yeah.
So like, yeah, we always talk about that. We're like, I mean, we picked the wrong sport in terms of financially, but
Yeah.
in terms of happiness, I mean, you know, I feel like everyone's pretty thankful for that.
But I think that could change through this new area of content. And we talked about it a little bit. Guys like Jamie O'Brien, Koa Rothman, Nathan Florence. I mean, I don't know how much they're paying these content guys, but every week they're coming out with these vlogs that our sponsors are flocking to. They're putting up these unreal mixes of them shredding the crystal blue Hawaiian waves. Have you ever thought about like trying to do that route here in Santa Cruz?
I think I'm a little too shy to get in front of a camera and do that type of stuff. There's definitely like, you know, it takes a certain individual to have that personality in front of a camera, and
it's like almost every day.
yeah. So, and
I don't even do that.
Like I see those, like I have a few of them that are my friends, and like it's crazy just to see them like switch on and like turn into vlog mode and then like switch off and like start talking to you again. You're like, whoa.
Yeah.
I could never do that, but it's really cool, you know, for those people to have that platform to kind of control their own destiny in terms of like the money they make, the sponsors they gain. Like it's all in their hands, like by the content they create and the ideas they come up with. So it's cool to have that.
It's just like you talk about the different modes. It feels like someone will just be like, "Hey, what's up, Nat? What's up, Nat? Hit the site counter below." And it's like it's like these two different. It's like, you know, this is a whole other career for surfing.
No, that's like spot on right there. Like, one of my good friends, Jacob Zeekley, he is full in on YouTube, but like he's like that. He can just like switch on, switch off.
Yeah, he's really good at it.
Yeah, he's built to jump in front of the camera and do that stuff. So
you guys did a video recently where you shredded in Santa Cruz for a while, getting ready for the cold water, I think.
Yeah, he came up, we surfed. It's funny because me and him are pretty opposite. Like he's very outgoing and comfortable in front of a camera, and I'm a little shy. So it's a little classic combination. But
yeah, it's tough because not every athlete, even if you're really high profile, is built for the social media game. I mean, it is exhausting.
It is, yeah. It's a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like a lot of people have someone that runs it for them.
I mean,
but then there's guys that love to do it as well. You know, that's like you see them on their phone constantly on Instagram and all the different platforms. But
right, and on these contact guys, it feels like they've carved out. I know we're talking about the surfing reset, but it feels like guys like Koa and Job have carved out a particular economy for surfing because, like I said, man, I don't know how much these brands are paying them when they give their shout outs, but there's a lot of people watching this stuff. And it feels like right now, as a surfer riding the wave of the market and what people are looking for, it almost feels like at this point a prerequisite for a young surfer to start documenting everything they're doing.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a really good idea to, you know, have that as well. I mean, it just certain different individuals, like some people are competitive and that's their drive.
Yeah.
And that's what they want to do. They want to compete and train and work hard and, you know, spend all that time surfing or training or whatnot. And then, you know, there's other people that's more of a lifestyle.
Yeah.
They love surfing. They want to surf good waves and they want to make a career doing that. And it's cool because there is a platform for that.
Yeah.
And those guys, like you said, Koa Rothman, Koa Smith, Nathan Florence, Jamie, like they're leading the way for that. And, you know, I'm sure there's going to be young kids in the future that, you know, are going to have those guys to follow. And also with like wave pools and whatnot, there's a lot of, you know, new opportunities, and there's going to be, it's crazy to think about. There's going to be like wave pool surfers, ocean surfers. It's going to be totally different in 5 to 10 years than what we've ever seen.
Absolutely. You might not have know the answer to this, but all of their editors are so good. Are they paying them a shit ton, or are these guys like, well, I want to go live with JOB in Hawaii, like I'll do this for peanuts?
I honestly couldn't tell you the answer to that.
I mean, these mixes are crazy, man. Like the drones, the music mixed with and they're filming for hours every day.
I feel like I see some of the, like Koa Rothman, I think, like has had the same guy working with him throughout the start of his YouTube vlog and whatnot.
Yeah.
So I feel like some people are making enough to probably keep those guys on, and other people are probably having to rotate through and you know, give someone another opportunity, and like a younger kid or something like that. So probably differs with everybody.
As someone like myself who makes content, I've noticed that there's really a huge imbalance between the amount of people that want or looking for these quality of editors and the editors actually in the market. Like there's not many guys that can make the stuff that are making stuff for JOB and Koa, which brings me to my next thing. Like, how have they recruited, like, feels like the best editors in the country in terms of content are in Hawaii.
Hawaii's a nice place to be, right?
It's not bad, but in basketball, we've tried to find guys like that. In football, these guys try to find guys like that, and they can't, and it doesn't work. You can't go on Fiverr. I don't know if you're familiar with Fiverr. It's where you go, basically, it's a marketplace for you know, gig economy workers, and you know, a lot of people who make content will go on Fiverr and get someone, you know, in India to make you a 30-second social media clip. You could do this today, go on Fiverr. But these aren't Fiverr guys, man.
Yeah. No, you know what? Now that I think about it, like someone like John has had the same guy working with him since I can remember. Like Mason Ho has one of his best friends that films him and makes all his videos. Like it almost seems like the guys that make them are surfers that now have this, you know, this job as making these videos of these high profile guys, but like they're able to travel the world, surf. It's kind of just like I said, it's like their lifestyle is very similar to probably what it was. They just learned they learned how to film or edit, or I have a friend that does that here in Santa Cruz, who's a good surfer, and he kind of like pivoted and picked up a camera and is really good at it. So it gets them around the world. It gets them to new places and stuff like that. So maybe that's why they do it and why it's easier to keep them there.
And it feels like surfing has adapted. It's adapted to the economical reset. You know, they realize if you're not in the top 30, 20, you know, don't want to give a particular number, but you have to find other ways to sustain the lifestyle. And I think with content and everything, the surfing community has had this adaptation.
Totally. Yeah, there's like we were talking about earlier, like someone like Ben Gravy, or I don't know. I mean, Jamie's was always, I think, making pretty good money as a surfer, but like someone like Ben Gravy, I think, was able to carve out, you know, a role for himself. I remember when we were younger, we used to do like the junior competitions. I remember going to the East Coast and surfing against him and whatnot. And I mean, from what I've heard, he's one of the bigger, you know, one of the most popular surfers in the world because of YouTube.
Right.
So it's cool. I mean, he is creative. He found like a cool niche. It's actually really interesting what he's doing, like surfing. I think he surfed in every state of the country.
I think I saw something like that. Yeah,
like that's fun.
Is he He's the novelty.
He's the novelty king.
Novelty king.
Like, that's fun. Like, I mean,
yeah.
I'd
surfing like Michigan, man, ripping like what?
I mean, crazy. No one else in the world has probably ever done it, so it's cool.
Yeah, no, it's awesome. It feels like, you know, on one end, it sucks that a lot of professional surfers, you know, can't make as much money, but at the same time, you don't actually have to be as good as a surfer as these guys to make that money because of the content route. So we were talking about earlier, there's some guys out there that are super famous surfers, but then I ask a WSL surfer like yourself, and you're like, he'd just be another guy out there on the tour. Yeah,
I mean, you basically these days, you either have to be like extremely good, because you got to be one of the top 32 best surfers in the world. So there's a lot of people surfing now. So you got to be really good, or like you got to have a personality. It's like one or the other.
Yeah, no trade-offs. Surfing is not something that I feel like you don't retire from surfing. It's not like a retiring thing. And you think is that a reason why you think we don't see that many surfers matriculate into the industries that I'll see a lot of retired basketball, football guys in, the real estate world, venture capital, anywhere in tech, or like is that a sort of...
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, I know some guys that have, hung up the jersey, they still surf for fun, but they've become realtors and
okay.
Yeah, like one thing that I think is that when you surf, I mean, there's probably like one or two people that I've grown up surfing with that have done the WCT and WQS that have gone to college. So that's a thing.
Wait, most pro surfers don't go to college?
No. So like I didn't go to college. I graduated high school.
Wow.
A lot of surfers, they don't even like go to school or
you weren't a banana slug, man? You didn't go to UC Santa Cruz?
Nah, I wasn't. But
I think they would offer you a surfing scholar,
I know. I might have to take them up on it. But yeah, that's like
I didn't know that. Wow.
Real thing is that none of us go to college. So I'm not sure if that plays a part in kind of after professional, the routes you can take.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if there's like tons of different avenues for you to go with that. But I do know like real estate's kind of a big thing for some ex-professional surfers. Like, you don't have to have gone to college for that.
Yeah. Well, do you think now with this, universities have shown they can do remote work? I don't know if do you see, I mean, you're not to date you, you're a little bit of an older guy now, but do you see the younger surfers, have you seen them take more remote college classes, or are these guys still not going to school?
I think, no, definitely not going to school.
Okay. And that's because you're constantly traveling the world for the tournaments, or is it?
Yeah, it's like, I feel like my generation, probably more people went to school than they do now. Surfing's like you get good like at a really, like a lot of parents like have their kids like surfing at like 5 years old instead of like going to school. Like,
wow.
It's like, it's almost like a sport.
There's a bunch of LeVar balls in surfing.
Maybe not there's a couple of those, but
okay.
Yeah, it's just like you can't get good at it like starting at like 15 or something like that.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah,
you can't start in high school and be a pro surfer.
No.
You have to start probably in these days at like, like 8 years old.
Yeah.
So like one parent sees all these 8-year-olds out in the water, but they want their son to be a pro surfer too. And he's going to school. Like, well, all these other kids that aren't going to school are going to get better than him. So it's like this weird.
So kids are skipping the 3rd grade to surf?
I mean, I can't say all of them, but I feel like more now than ever before aren't going to school. So
do you see that here in Santa Cruz?
I don't really see it a whole lot in Santa Cruz. Santa Cruz is a hard place to become a successful professional surfer. We don't kind of breed them like they do in Southern California or Hawaii. Just the water is not as warm. It's not warm. It's not like inviting.
You mean you don't like the great white sharks lurking at Moss Point?
Yeah. I mean, the sharks, the cold water, the cold air, it's just not as inviting.
Yeah.
So I think people tend to have their kids in school a little more up here.
Yeah. But speaking on the real estate point, you own some properties. So you can talk about what you've done in Santa Cruz?
Yeah. I mean, my mom kind of managed my money for me as I was competing. It's like, I didn't learn anything in terms of like financially, like taxes, any of that stuff. Like all I knew was like how to surf. So
yeah,
my mom took care of all that stuff for me.
Wow.
When I was, I think 23, I bought an apartment complex, and then just some other property here in Santa Cruz. And, it's been able to, obviously like free up some stress in terms of financially for me.
Yeah.
It's allowed me to continue to like pursue my dreams, I guess, in terms of traveling and competing and stuff as I've gotten older, and the money has kind of not, it's like slowed down for sure.
Sure.
So, I mean, and that was all my mom's idea. I feel like real estate's pretty safe.
Yeah.
It's tangible. It's always going to be
Yeah.
in need, especially here by the coast.
Yeah, for
So,
sure. And I feel like, a lot of things here just keep appreciating because it's the Bay Area. People are becoming more nomadic, and a place like Santa Cruz where if I can be a tech bro and get my surf on
Yeah.
and rent from Nat Young's apartment complex, are you kidding me?
I think the tech bros can buy beachfront here. They seem to own all the beachfront properties here, but
Yeah.
I'm thankful because, like you said, Santa Cruz is insanely expensive. I'm thankful that I have a place to live here and have, gotten into it when I was a little bit younger and it wasn't so expensive.
Right.
So nowadays it's ridiculous.
That apartment complex, just owning that one place, man. Do you feel like that's taught you a lot?
I don't know what it's taught me. Not sure it's taught me anything, but yeah, I have someone that manages it for me. So
I mean, that's also part of it, right? Surrounding yourself with the right people to make sure that keeps succeeding. I think a lot of athletes, you can't do it all by yourself.
Yeah.
You need that's a support system around you. So delegating, being able to manage, having someone managing that property, then you show up when you need a face or a name to come and like handle something. I think it's important.
Yeah, I've actually never been inside of it, so I have never showed up or showed face. But yeah, like you said, it is important to have people like in your corner that have your best interests or have your back and can kind of put you in positions to succeed.
Yeah.
And I feel like, I mean, like with the other surfers that I said have done cool business ventures, like I'm sure, they've had people that are around them that a cool opportunity arises and it's like, hey, do you want to be involved in this? It's just kind of being around someone that kind of has those ideas or has those connections and whatnot. But yeah.
But before I even ask the question, like, how can we get surfers more opportunity to make money outside of the ocean, like, the ocean? Let's assume the desire is there for a lot of guys. Let's just just set that assumption. What would you like to see happen with your fellow peers to help them, monetize what they're doing more, or help, or at least on either within surfing, or what would you like to see to help, guys become more educated on these other avenues of passive income? Is it, sponsorship, guys going to school more, what would you like to see?
I mean, I don't know. It's just really, it's just so different. Like it's mostly you rely on sponsorships.
Yeah.
And like, it's like, you can't control those things. That's what's like so cool about baseball, basketball, football is like your talent, like as long as you work hard and you're really good, a team out there is going to want you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like they're going to want you to play well on their team and you're going to get compensated for that. Surfing is more of like a marketability thing.
Sure.
And there's those guys in other sports, but it's like, it's a small percentage of guys probably in baseball, basketball that have those sponsorship deals. But in surfing, like it's all dependent on that.
Yeah.
And so like you're at the mercy of companies.
Sure.
Decide, whether you're marketable or not for them. So, I mean, I don't think it's never going to be like baseball where, some team from San Francisco or New York or somewhere wants you to come and hit home runs for them
Sure.
or whatnot. So that's the difference. And I don't think that's ever going to change, but
yeah.
But that's the tricky part.
Well, it's just fascinating, man. The sport of surfing is fascinating. I really hope that the prize money goes up, and so we can start to become, surfing can start to, be on the upslope in terms of the particular competitions. The sport itself is becoming ever more popular, and I look forward to these guys making this particular content, the Koa Rothmans, the JOBs, to continue to expand their brands, because I do think it's helpful for the next generation. But we really appreciate you coming on the podcast, Nat. This is another great podcast, Athletes and Assets, with my guy, Nat Young. Nat, here in Santa Cruz in your home turf, man. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having me on.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun, and it's cool kicking it down here. We'll have to go. I'll have to go shred, or at least act like I can shred.
Yeah, you didn't bring your board, did you?
No, I did not. I didn't bring my board, man. That was my first mistake.
Yeah, next time you got to bring that down.
Yeah, I do. Absolutely.